Hey YouTube, this is Primetime Pokemon. In this video, I'll be reviewing and then giving away the Wave Slasher BREAKpoint theme deck. It is a water and grass type deck and is based around Greninja. So the first part of this video, I will be reviewing this deck, going through each and every card in the 60 card deck, and then at the end of the video I will state the rules for the giveaway. If you're interested in seeing other theme decks that I've reviewed on YouTube, you'll find a link to the playlist I've created in the description of this video. I have reviewed every single theme deck that has been released in the past several years on YouTube, so definitely take a look at those if you'd like. So I'll turn the deck to the back here and read the deck summary and then show the card list and everything that you get on the inside. But basically it says, call the ocean's fury, cut through waves and slash foes in the battle arena, flow like water and bend like grass. Greninja and Slowking come to your call in the Wave Slasher theme deck. And then it says, in this box you'll find a 60 Pokemon card deck, a card checklist, metallic coin, 2-player playmat and rule sheet, 1 code card to play this deck online, a deck box, and damage counters. And then here's a look at the cards on the inside. And decks are $12.99 in stores. The other deck that came out with the BREAKpoint set is a Lightning and Psychic type theme deck called Electric Eye, featuring Luxray, and I'll be reviewing that deck next month. So I'll quickly show everything here. Here is the checklist that comes with the deck, the damage counters and burn and poison markers. Here is a playmat. The coin looks like a Mega Gyarados coin. I like that coin quite a bit. It's a flat or a matte finish, so it's not real shiny. And then here is the deck box with the 60 cards featuring Greninja artwork. The code card for the online TCG. And then the card that was in the preview window, which is Greninja. There's 2 Greninja in this deck. This one's a special holofoil pattern to it, sort of a shards look to it. So there's everything set aside. Now you can go through each card. I have opened this deck already just so I could organize the cards here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a few cards at a time. And the first line that we have is a 3-2-2 line of Froakie, Frogadier, and Greninja. Of course, you could put Greninja Break into this deck, but I can talk about that later. So Froakie, basic Pokemon, 60 HP. It has 2 moves, Bubble, or it has just 1 move called Bubble that says to flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. So if you think you can get Froakie into the active Pokemon spot to start the game, then quickly evolve it into Frogadier the next turn, it may be worth it to use Bubble, but otherwise I would involve this line on the bench. So 3 of those. 3 Froakie, and then 2 Frogadier and 2 Greninja. Frogadier, low HP for a stage 1, only 70, and only 1 move called Water Duplicates. Says to search your deck for up to 3 Frogadier and put them onto your bench. Shuffle your deck afterwards. So right here, if you can put them onto your bench right afterwards, you do not have to use Froakie. You can just skip right to this Frogadier. So not a bad way there. It sounds like a rare candy trainer card from years past. But I would definitely keep this line on the bench so far to evolve it into Greninja. I have not seen anything I like out of these first 2 Pokemon. So 2 of those, and then 2 Greninja. Of course, that holo one that I showed in the preview window, and then this non-holo rare one. So 2 moves on Greninja, 130 HP for stage 2. First move's called Shadow Stitching, does 40 damage. Until the end of your opponent's next turn, each Pokemon your opponent has in play in his or her hand and in his or her discard pile has no abilities. So that would really disrupt an opponent's deck if they're basing their deck off of a Pokemon's ability. And then Moonlight Slash does 60 damage for 1 water energy, and it says you may return a water energy from this Pokemon to your hand. If you do, this attack does 20 damage more. So that'd actually be pretty good if you have all of your other Pokemon set up already. You could put 2 energy cards on Greninja, use Moonlight Slash, do 80 damage, return that energy card to your hand, put that same energy card on Greninja during its next turn and do 80 damage again. And you can always add Muscle Band to any Pokemon card to make that attack do even more. And one thing you'll notice, retreat cost on Greninja is free, so you can move in and out of the active Pokemon spot without worry. So I like Greninja quite a bit out of this line. I'm not a big fan of either of the first two. So like I said, I would evolve this entire line on the bench and then move Greninja in and out of the active Pokemon spot when you see a good opening. Okay, so the next line here is a line of Psyduck and Golduck. 2-1 line, and again, you can use Golduck Break from this set. The problem with break cards and why they're not widely used is that they just take too long to set up. For an example, Greninja Break would be a stage 3 card. Golduck Break would be a stage 2 card. It just takes several turns to actually get one of these cards set up. So you have a Psyduck here, basic Pokemon, 60 HP. So it has a solid HP. Only one move though, called Stampede. It's good that it takes colorless energy, so you can use whatever type of energy you'd like. But it does require 2 energy cards as opposed to 1. So again, probably a card you'll want to set up on the bench, depending on what Golduck looks like. And Golduck here, 100 HP, so it has a very good HP for a stage 1. 2 moves on this one. Derail does 20 damage. It says to discard a special energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon, so it could prevent your opponent from attacking during its next turn. And then Hydro Splash does 70 damage for 3 energy cards, which is above average damage for that amount of energy cards. So I like Greninja and I like Golduck quite a bit, but both cards are ones that you're going to have to set up on the bench and then move to the active Pokemon spot. So a 1-2 line of that. And then there's a 2-1 line of Slowpoke and Slowking. No Slowbro used in this deck. Higher HP for a basic Pokemon with 70. 2 moves. Headbutt does 10. So this would probably be the best starter type Pokemon I've seen so far. Just one you want to start the game off with. And then Tail Lure for 2 colorless energy cards says to search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So Tail Lure would be good if you want to get a stage 1 or a stage 2 into your hand right away to evolve one of your Pokemon. So you could use it to pull back a Greninja or a Golduck. Okay, so a 2-1 line, like I said. Slowking here. Good HP for stage 1. This is the first card that has an ability. Its ability is called Royal Flash. It says, once during your turn, you may flip a coin. If heads, move an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon to one of his or her bench Pokemon. So if you had Slowking on your bench, you could use this ability, and then you could use Golduck's Derail move, and then you could discard, not discard, but move 2 energy cards from your opponent's active Pokemon to their bench Pokemon. One thing I did forget to mention with Derail on Golduck, it has to be a special energy card, but a lot of people do use special energy cards in their decks. Okay, so next up here is Shellder, and there is a 2-2 line of Shellder and Cloyster. Shellder, 60 HP, so a good HP. Razor Shell does 10 damage plus 10 more damage if you get a heads when you flip a coin. So this is also a very good starter type Pokemon. Slowpoke and Shellder would be the 2 I'd recommend. And then Cloyster, 2 of those. A good HP again, so a run of stage 1 cards with above average HP. 2 moves on this one. Sudden Grip does 10 damage, which isn't much for 1 energy card, but it does say if this Pokemon evolved from Shellder during this turn, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed, so it prevents your opponent from attacking. And then Surf does 70 damage for 3 energy cards. So pretty similar to Golduck's Hydro Splash move. So a solid attacker. Again, theme of this deck really is slower attacking Pokemon, stuff that you're probably going to get set up on the bench. There's not any quick attacking Pokemon so far, at least ones that can do major damage. Okay, So now we're on to Corsola, just 2 Corsola in the deck, basic Pokemon, no evolution forms. So 80 HP, decent for a basic that doesn't evolve. 2 moves, I like that they both require colorless energy to use. Spike Cannon does 30 damage times the number of heads you get when you flip 2 coins. And then Power Gem does 50 damage for 3 colorless energy cards. Spike Cannon, not too bad if you use a Trick Coin Trainer card on it. But I would probably take out this Corsola card, potentially put in a Greninja Break or a Golduck Break, that type of thing. Okay, now we're on to the Grass-type Pokemon. And there's a 2-2 line of Chikorita and Bayleaf, no Meganium. So you could always add in Meganium from this BREAKpoint set. So I'll pick up these cards now. So a 2-2 line, Chikorita, 60 HP, so a good HP. 2 moves, Tackle and Blot. Both do 10 damage. Blot heals 10 damage from Chikorita. So it's a solid starter type Pokemon. With starter type Pokemon, you always want to look for one that has at least 60 HP and then that can do 10 damage or more for 1 energy card. So 2 of those, and then Bayleaf, 90 HP, so an average HP for stage 1. 2 moves, Body Slam does 20 damage. And it paralyzes the defending Pokemon if you get a heads when you flip a coin. So that's a theme in this theme deck, that you can paralyze the defending Pokemon on a coin flip. And then Vine Whip does 30 damage for 2 energy cards. So a very, very average stage 1. I definitely consider putting Meganium in here. But again, it's going to make this deck even slower, just having so many Pokemon that evolve. Okay, next up, there is a line of Kricketot and Kricketune, and there's a 2-2 line of those Pokemon. 60 HP for Kricketot. Bug Hunch is the 1 move, and it says search your deck for up to 3 grass Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand. And I like that this card doesn't say 3 basic grass type Pokemon. That way you can move in evolutions like a Bayleaf or a Meganium if you use that, or a Kricketune. Speaking of Kricketune, here's what that card looks like. 90 HP, so a good HP. Screech and Slash are the 2 moves. I like Slash quite a bit. Doesn't require many energy cards to use. So this is probably my favorite grass-type Pokemon I've looked at so far, just because it can do so much damage for only 1 energy card. But Screech says, during your next turn, any damage done to the defending Pokemons by attacks is increased by 60. So you could do Screech the first turn and then Slash the second turn, doing 100 damage in 2 turns. What you want to watch out for is if the defending Pokemon only has 80 damage on it or less, you'll just want to use Slash 2 turns in a row instead of using Screech 1 turn and Slash the next. But I like this card as a stage 1. Next up, there is a 2-1 line of Petalil and Lilligant. 50 HP, so a little bit lower HP. 1 move called Aromatherapy that heals 10 damage from each of your Pokemon. I like Aromatherapy quite a bit, but later in games when your bench Pokemon are probably going to have damage on them, 50 HP is pretty low. If there's any way that you can increase the HP on this card, I definitely consider keeping this card in the deck and using it later on in games. Okay, so next here is Lilligant. Again, below average HP. 2 moves on Lilligant, Boo-Hoo and Leaf Slice. Boo-Hoo does 20 damage, and it says if your opponent attaches an energy card from his or her hand to the defending Pokemon during his or her next turn, that Pokemon is asleep. And then Leaf Slice says flip a coin, flip 2 coins. This attack does 30 damage times the number of heads. So that's the second card that I've seen that has that move on it, where you flip 2 coins and it does 30 damage times the number of heads. And Corsola's Spike Cannon was the card that had a very similar move to it. So that's it for the Pokemon in this deck. Nothing really stands out to me. Again, you can modify this deck 1 card at a time. Like I said, you could put a Greninja Break in here, a Golduck Break. You could put Slowbro in here if you'd like. You could put a Meganium in here. But the biggest thing I've noticed with these Pokemon is that they require quite a bit of energy to attack, and or they require multiple evolutions. So it's going to be slower altogether. If you can figure out a way to evolve the Pokemon quicker or get more energy cards on Pokemon, get maybe 2 energy cards on a Pokemon per turn, these Pokemon actually wouldn't be too bad. So I would say very average overall. Nothing that really stands out to me as being extremely good or extremely bad. Now we'll go on to the trainers in this deck. Several have 1 each, and then a couple have 2. So there's 1 Fighting Fury Belt. This is actually a pretty good trainer. It says, the basic Pokemon this card is attached to gets 40 HP more, and its attacks do 10 damage more to your active Pokemon. So I can see why this is one of the most valuable trainer cards in this set. It's basically like a muscle band plus something that increases HP. I would definitely recommend going forward using at least one of these in any deck that you may build. Great Ball is the next trainer, one of these, and it says, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal a Pokemon you find there and put it into your hand. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. This card's useful for decks like this that require multiple evolutions, a lot of stage 1 and stage 2 cards. So this is a great card to use. Great Ball. Max Elixir, just one of these, says look at the top 6 cards of your deck and attach a basic energy card you find there to a basic Pokemon on your bench. So this is a way to add multiple energy cards to a Pokemon per turn. I like that one. And then the next card here is a supporter, so you only can use 1 supporter per turn. Misty's Determination says to discard a card from your hand. If you do, look at the top 8 cards of your deck and put one of them into your hand. So this is another card that would work well with multiple evolutions, sort of the theme of this theme deck so far. And then Potion, this is a pretty standard trainer card. 2 potions here, heals 30 damage from one of your Pokemon. So if you want to try and use something like a card that has a lower HP, like Petalil, but has a good move in Aromatherapy, Potion will help that card quite a bit, as well as that new trainer card called Fighting Fury Belt. So 2 of those. And then there is 2 Professor's Letters. It says to search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. So this way you for sure can say, I'm going to have an energy card in the hand, and I can attach it to a Pokemon. So with these Pokemon that require a lot of energy cards to attack, this is a very important trainer card to have in your deck as well. So getting down there on trainer cards, so there is a Shauna, another supporter. One of these, shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 5 cards. So if you need an energy card, if you're looking for an evolution, this would be a useful supporter card. And then there are 2 Tierno cards. It's reprinted in the BREAKpoint set, allows you to draw 3 cards. So another good way to try and get evolution or trainer cards in your hand, or basic Pokemon if you don't have any on your bench. So there are, like I said, 2 Tierno cards. And then 1 Wally card. It says to search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon. So this is a very good card in a deck like this that has a lot of stage 1 and stage 2 cards. So I'm pretty impressed by the trainer cards in this deck. I really like the Fighting Fury Belt trainer. I think that's going to be a staple in any deck going forward. So if you're looking to build your own deck, definitely consider that card. But then there's a nice mixture of cards that support the Pokemon in this deck, whether it's getting energy into your hand or finding evolution forms of your Pokemon. It's definitely a very good trainer theme deck overall. And then the energy cards here, water energy and grass type energy, both 9 apiece on those. So there you have it. As always with theme decks, in my opinion, they're pretty much average overall. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 rating. I can compare it to the Electric Eye theme deck when I review that deck next month. But basically, this is a solid theme deck to start. If you're just a beginner, I'd always recommend going with the newest set out there, just using their theme decks, just going out there and seeing the strategy that's used and then slightly modifying it one by one. Like I said, adding some break cards, adding a Meganium Hollow, maybe adding a Slowbro, that type of thing. But overall, this is a very good deck for beginners. I would not advise you to go against this deck at all. It's not great, but it's definitely a solid one to play with. So now the part 2 giveaway. Very simple to enter this giveaway. All you have to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, and then just say you'd like to enter the giveaway. At the end of February, the final day in February, I will be private messaging the winner on YouTube. And the way that you check your messages on YouTube is go to www.youtube.com/messages, and there you should see any messages that you receive. So good luck to everyone. Complete rules to entry is in the description of this video. Stay tuned for more. Good luck to everyone, and thanks for watching.